Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone once again. After a long time, we are meeting for this wonderful Bhagavad Gita session. And Janmashtami and post Janmashtami sevas have kept me really busy. So, we were on a break for around 3 to 4 weeks. But nevertheless, good part is that we have resumed this session once again, and we will continue from where we had left off. So, before proceeding, I would like to chant some pranam mantras. Those who know can repeat after me. Those who don't, just listen to it very intently because the listening is also very, very purifying. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघते गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम् हरि ओम तत्सत्. So, as far as I can recall, we discussed verse number 32. So today we will discuss verse number 33 and 34. Okay, and I will quickly share my screen and we can start. So I think the screen is shared now. So verse number 33 goes like this. Sadrisham cheshte swasyaha prakriterjnanavanapihi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Once again. Sadrisham cheshte swasyaha prakriterjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. So the translation of this verse is like this. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. Three modes means three modes of material nature. Three modes of material nature are Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Satogun, the mode of goodness, Rajogun, mode of passion, and Tamogun, mode of ignorance. And out of these three, Rajogun and Tamogun are considered to be lower modes of material nature because if a person is primarily situated in any of these two modes, okay, then the chances for them walking the path of self-realization or carrying out some spiritual practices is very, very feeble. It's very rare actually. Okay. Although we must remember that all the three modes of material nature are binding. Okay, they bind an individual to this material world. Okay, they are the hindrances on the path of liberation. Okay, but nevertheless, if a person is primarily situated on the mode of goodness over a period of time, then what happens that slowly they transcend the three modes of material nature. They come above the three modes of material nature, and they are situated in what is known as the Shuddha Sattva, okay, or mode of pure goodness. Okay, that is the liberating mode. actually. So if a person, although they are situated in this material world, but due to regular spiritual practices and sadhana, if they have come up to the level of Shuddha Sattva, or they have acquired the mode of pure goodness, then it is said that the person, although they are in this material world, but still they are fully liberated people. Okay, and after quitting this body, there is absolutely no doubt they will be going back home, back to Krishna. Okay, so this was just a quick summary about the three modes of material nature. So what Krishna is saying here, even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish, right? So Lord Sri Krishna is saying that we should not try to repress, ourselves, or forcefully we should not try to follow something. Okay, we will try to explain this. Okay, we'll see what. It's a very important verse, and just go through it. Okay, so let me just open the Bhagavad Gita. So, and one more request, like those viewers who are regularly watching my videos, one humble request to all of them, that please keep a copy of Bhagavad Gita along with you. Okay, when you are watching this session, it's very important, so that you can go through the purport, the portions of the purport which I am reading, and after the session, please try to revise. Okay, try to go through what we have learnt in this session. Only then we will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay, otherwise, if we just casually listen to this session, if we casually listen to these sessions and then forget about it, once the session is over, then it's very difficult. I mean, we are just wasting our time and energy. Okay, to be precise. So please keep a Bhagavad Gita along with you when you are watching these sessions. So some of the keywords which I would like to uh, iterate here. So Sadrisham means accordingly, and Swayaha means by his own, by his own, and Prakrite means mode of material nature. Okay, so Prakrite Jnanavanapi, that means a person or people in general, they act according to the modes of material nature which they have acquired. Okay, so what Krishna is saying, that all the living entities, Bhutani, all the living entities are acting according to the three modes of material nature which they have acquired. And what can repression achieve? Okay, Nigraha means repression, and Kim Karishyati means what can repression do? Means forcefully, if we are trying to, follow certain things or a specific lifestyle, it's not going to help. And this is a very subtle science, okay, which I'll try to explain uh, now. Okay. So, in the previous verse, Lord Sri Krishna was talking about those people who do not have any faith, okay, who do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, and they just, disregard basically the Vedic principles, okay. So, those people who are envious of Krishna and the Vedic injunctions, they behave in this manner, okay. And Sri Krishna tells us that if these injunctions are not followed, then there are certain set of punishments also which are prescribed. Okay, so now a question may arise that when people know that there are certain sets of punishments which have been prescribed for those who do not follow the Vedic injunctions, or who do not follow the rules and regulations which are prescribed by the scriptures, then why do they do so? I mean, are such people not fearful of the punishments which have been prescribed by Sri Krishna? So, this is what Lord Sri Krishna is explaining in this very verse. Okay, that why do people you know uh, disregard the Vedic principles or the rules and regulations which have been prescribed by the Vedic scriptures. Okay, so if we try to understand this shloka and a few more after this one, okay, then it will be very easy for us to understand the people around, the people with whom we are dealing. and subsequently it will become very easy for us to deal with them. Okay, so once we understand that, okay, this particular person is, working under this mode of material nature, so how should my behavior be towards that person? Okay, so in this way the dealing becomes very easy. So we see that externally, uh, on the gross platform, okay, that certain people exhibit certain kind of behaviors. Okay, so but Sri Krishna here in this particular verse is going to tell us that what is the subtle aspect. Okay, that how is that person behaving on the subtle platform, and once we are able to see what's going on within the person, on the subtle platform, then it becomes very easy to deal with that person. Okay, so in this verse Lord Sri Krishna tells us that no matter how knowledgeable a person is, okay, ultimately they will act according to their modes of material nature which they have acquired. That is, like, which particular mode of material nature is more prominent in that person. Okay, we have to understand in that way, because there are three modes of material nature, as I said earlier: rajogun, sorry, satogun, rajogun, and tamogun. And each and every single individual, without exception, okay, they have a combination of these three modes of material nature within them. No one can say that, okay, I am only, or I'm always in the mode of goodness, or I'm always in the mode of passion, or I'm always in the mode of ignorance. No, we have a mix of all the three gunas within us, and from time to time one particular guna or one particular mode of material nature takes precedence. Okay, and um, according to the mode of material nature the people have acquired, they tend to remain in that particular mode most of the time. It's the most prominent mode within that person. Okay, so this is what we need to understand. Okay, and the person acts according to that predominant mode of material nature which they are in. Okay, and mind you, these modes of material nature we have acquired over many lifetimes. Okay, it's not just that, okay, in this particular lifetime or in this particular birth only I have learned certain things, I have been born and brought up in certain way, so I have acquired certain mode of material nature. No, it doesn't happen that way, and this is the subtle aspect which we need to understand. Okay, we have acquired this over a many lifetimes, and just try to understand this with the help of an example. Okay, take for example a block of clay. Okay, so what happens when the block of clay is wet? Okay, at that time if we try to throw some pebbles on it, what happens? The pebbles will get embedded in that block of clay, and once we remove those pebbles it will leave a mark on that block of clay. Correct? And in this way, when the clay dries up, so what happens after that? The mark also dries up along with the clay and it's still there. Right? So our mind is just like this wet clay. Okay, every activity that we perform in our lifetime, okay, it creates an impression in our mind. And just like the pebbles creating the impressions on a wet clay, those impressions are always there in our mind. Okay, and when we quit this gross body, okay, and we take another gross body, so our subtle body, which comprises of the mind, intelligence, and false ego, okay, they are also transferred to the new body that we are getting. Okay, so these impressions which are there in the mind, which are also known as the sanskaras, okay, sanskaras, they are there in one lifetime. We quit that gross body. In the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, false ego, it makes up our subtle body. This subtle body is again transferred to the new body, new gross body, which we'll be getting. Okay, so because these impressions are already there in our mind, so we will be uh, we say that, okay, we have acquired some particular mode of material nature from that lifetime. Okay, and in this way our mind carries the impressions from one body to another over several lifetimes. Okay, whatever activities we perform in our new gross body, that impressions will also come on our mind. We quit that body, we move on along with mind, intelligence, and false ego, and this process goes on and on. And over a period of time, we will see that, okay, some samskaras we have acquired, a particular mode of material nature we have acquired. Okay, so this is the subtle aspect. Okay, we have to understand that, and this is very, very important. Okay? And we work according to that nature that we have acquired. So, what Sri Krishna is telling us here is that the actions of a person based on the nature that they have acquired, which is a very subtle aspect. Okay, so we can achieve. So, what can we achieve by forcing a person on the gross platform to act in a certain way? Okay, what will depression achieve? Okay, that's what Krishna is saying. Nigraha kim karishyati. Okay, what will the repression achieve? Because anyways, that person is going to act according to that mode of material nature which they have acquired over many, many lifetimes. So just by suppressing our senses or forcibly trying to act in a certain way, it's not going to do anything. Trust me, it's a tried and tested thing. It's not going to work that way. Okay, even if you force the person to do something specific, ultimately they will act according to the nature they have acquired. Okay, so now the question is that in our mind that just like a clay block, it dried up with many impressions. Okay, and same is the situation of our mind, that whatever mode of material nature we basically imbibe in one particular lifetime, it creates an impression in our mind. We quit the gross body, our mind, intelligence, false ego is transferred to the next gross body that we take up. There we perform certain activities. Those activities create an impression on our mind. Okay, so the question is there anything which can be done about it? Okay, is there any way to rectify the problems which we have within our mind, within ourselves? How to do that? So Srila Prabhupada gives the answer here. We'll try to read from the purport. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter, 14th verse. We will discuss about that. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. Okay, so theoretical knowledge means by reading the Vedic scriptures where uh, the differentiation between the body and soul is explained very nicely, but then ultimately not implementing the rules and regulations which have been prescribed by the Vedic uh, injunctions. So just by having theoretical knowledge, nothing can be done. Okay, and here Srila Prabhupada is giving a reference to a very nice verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 14th verse, which says, Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam eva prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Okay, here Krishna is saying that Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mam Maya Duratya. That means this external energy or material energy. Okay, Gunmayi, it's my material energy or my external energy. Okay, Devi Hesha Gunmayi, it's my Maya. Okay, Mama Maya Duratya, and it's very, very difficult to overcome. Duratya, it's very difficult to overcome, impossible or impractical for any conditioned soul to overcome this Maya all by themselves. Okay, it's just not possible because it is Krishna's energy. Okay, and we have seen that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. No one is equal to him or no one is greater to him in any aspect, right? So it's very difficult. It's his energy, so we cannot overcome that. Okay, but Krishna says, Mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Those who take my shelter, they can easily cross over it. Okay, so this is how merciful our Lord is, right? So the only way to surpass this Maya or the material energy or this material existence is just to take the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, nothing else can help here. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is also saying, that unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, they cannot be free from the influence of the mode of material nature. Right? We will always be in this material pool. Okay, so we'll continue reading. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in science, but inwardly or privately they are completely under particular mode of material nature which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Yes, so material modes of material nature are binding actually. Okay, We are completely entangled by these three modes of material nature. So just imagine that they are like ropes, okay, which our entire existence is tied up by these ropes actually, and we need to get free of it. Okay, that is the main aim. Even though one may be engaged in prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Okay, even though one is engaged in the prescribed duties of material existence, still they are uh, entangled by the three modes of material nature. They are bound by the three modes of material nature. Okay. So in this way, we see that every person around us is acting according to the nature which they have acquired over several lifetimes. And because of this nature, even though person is situated in knowledge, okay, he has knowledge of the consequences of not following the Vedic injunctions. He knows that okay, what will happen, what are the set of prescribed punishments which are there, in the Vedic injunctions. Still, they will act according to the nature that they have acquired. Okay, so it's not that they are not afraid of the punishments, but they are just helpless. They are just helpless, and it's a pitiful situation, pitiful condition we all are in. Yes, and it's a very subtle aspect. Okay, we understand the subtle aspect, we will be able to understand the person in a better way. Okay, why so and so person behaves in so and so manner. Okay, it's a very important verse, and once we understand that person, this subtle aspect, that why the behavior of that person is in a particular way, we will be able to deal with that person in a better way. Okay? Forcing someone explicitly on gross platform to do certain things in a certain way is not going to yield any benefits. Take my words for that. Okay, it's a tried and tested thing. So instead of forcing our spiritual knowledge on a person, oh, why are you not, chanting Hare Krishna 16 rounds a day? Why are you not following the four regulative principles? No, it's not going to work that way. You can just respect, their choices. We can just, very humble way with folded hands, we can, request them to chant Hare Krishna, okay, as much as possible for them. Okay, try to follow the four regulative principles, if not all of them. Okay, in this way, we can do only as much. That's it. We cannot force. Okay, asking them to lead a specific lifestyle, it's not going to work that way, because ultimately that person will act according to the modes of material nature which they have acquired. Okay, so what is the best way, to touch such people, okay, to touch the hearts of such people? uh, Best way is to engage them in Krishna consciousness. Okay, that's the simple and the straightforward way. Okay, start with small sevas and services. Okay, once they start showing some interest, then involve more. Like for example, if a new person, they come to our center, okay, what do? We give them some small sevas. Okay, why don't you help us fold the mats? Why don't you help us in keeping the chairs back in place? And after having prasadam, we just request them that okay, the center is a little dirty now, after the class and after the prasadam, so can you please help us in cleaning it up? We can request some matajis to help us in making garlands for the deities on special occasions. So once we see that okay, they are getting more and more involved, they are happy doing those services, they are showing more interest in doing those services, then we can engage them further. Okay, and slowly tell them our philosophy, slowly tell them that what benefits the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra can do to us. Okay, and in this way, the person gets fully involved, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. And in this way, we are not only helping one spirit soul to get out of the material entanglement, but we are helping ourselves as well to get fixed up in devotion very nicely. Okay, so this is the sum and substance of this particular verse. If there are any questions, please feel free to drop those questions in the comment section below. Okay. So moving on to the verse number 34. Okay. Uh, so we have seen that in spite of having the knowledge of the consequences of not following the Vedic injunctions, people are helplessly driven by the three modes of material nature. Absolutely helpless. Okay, helplessly. It's a pitiful condition, as I said, right? So now Arjun has another question here. Okay, that if people are helplessly driven by the modes of material nature, then what is the rules and what is the use of the rules and regulations given by the Vedic scriptures? Anyways, the person is going to act according to the acquired mode of material nature. So why the Vedic injunctions are there? What is the use of it, right? And this very question Krishna is going to answer in this particular verse number 34. Okay, so we are going to read it. Sadrisham cheshte swasya prakriti. Oh no, sorry. This is the verse number 33. Okay, let me share my screen. Sorry, this just got carried away. Verse number 34 goes like this. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesho vivavasthito tayorna vashamagacche tauhyasya paripanthana. One more time. Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavasthito तयोर्न वशमागच्छेत्तौहस्य परिपन्थनो. Translation goes like this. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversions pertaining to the senses and the sense objects. One should not come under control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Very important, and we need some discussion to understand it. Okay, so some of the keywords which I'm going to uh, read here. Sadrisham means accordingly. No, sorry. Indriyasya means are the senses. Indriyasyarthe means the sense objects. Okay, so as we know that we have five working senses and five knowledge acquiring senses. Okay, uh, so knowledge acquiring senses are the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Okay, so these are the senses, and the sense objects, like anything which we perceive through these five senses, are known as the sense objects. And these sense objects are very, very attractive, mind you, in this material world. Uh, all we are trying to do is to engage with the sense objects around us. Okay, most of the people are in that kind of a mindset. So what Sri Krishna is saying here, that these are the principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and the sense objects. Okay, one should not come under control of such attachment because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. Okay, so a lot of people, they say that why should we follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures? Okay, this is a direct question which we get from so many people, especially the newcomers who are coming for the Gita course, or in general when we are talking to them. Okay, when the discussion comes up regarding spirituality, so the first question we should ask is that why? It's my life, my rules, my way. I should be independent. I should be free. Why should I follow the rules and regulations? Okay. So to this, what the actual freedom we need to understand. It lies in actually following the rules and regulations of the scriptures. Okay. Why? Because if we do not follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures, we will always be under the control of the three modes of material nature, as we saw in the previous verse. Okay, and we will act according to it. That means if I am acting according to the modes, according to the modes of material nature which I have acquired, that means I am a slave of my desires, right? So we are definitely not free, and it's worse, to be the slave of your desires, because these this particular slavery will slowly lead to addiction to different, unwanted things, right? So it's very important to follow the rules and regulations, and you see that today 99.9% of the people, okay, they are slaves of their desires. Okay, and myself included. Okay, I'm not saying that I am completely free of that. Okay, so every one of us. mostly all of them, all of us. Yes. So when one follows the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures or follows the Vedic injunctions, basically, that person is relaxed. Okay, they are not bound by the three modes of material nature. So uh, that person is very relaxed. And trust me, if we do not follow the rules and regulations, our senses will drive us crazy. Okay, there is absolutely no doubt about that. Okay, a person not following the rules and regulations will always try to gratify their senses. Okay, and as a result, they will always remain in this material pool of existence. They will Liberation is a distant dream for such people. They will forget about liberation. They will not only be interested in walking the path of self-realization. Okay, Mm, you talk to them, हाँ हाँ ठीक है करेंगे ना बाद में करेंगे अभी बहुत टाइम है. This kind of answer you will get. Okay, they will be least bothered. They will not show any interest in that. Yes. And please note that sense gratification, even under rules and regulations, can make a person go astray, right? And this is exactly what Prabhupada is mentioning very nicely here in the purport, that as much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal roads, right? So that means no matter how safe a road is, chances of accidents are always there if we do not follow the rules and regulations, the traffic rules and regulations. Yes. So these Vedic injunctions are just like the traffic rules. Okay, if we want to stay on track, if we want to stay on the road of self-realization, on the path of self-realization, we have to follow the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures. Otherwise, you will be under the control of the three modes of material nature. Ultimately, you will become the slave of your own desires. Okay, and it's not freedom. Okay, it's a very horrible situation to be in. Yes. But for many people, we have seen that sense gratification seems to be the only goal of life. कैसे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा पैसा कमाएं, कैसे बड़ा सा घर बनाएं, कैसे एक लग्जरी कार खरीद लें. There are so many, like you try to fulfill one desire, 10 others will crop up, right? Try to, you know, uh, attend to these 10 desires, 20 others will come up, right? It's a never ending process, basically. We have to understand that this body which has been given to us is not meant for sense gratification. Okay, we have to understand that. So by slight observation, we can understand this very well. I can even prove this very well, right? And with the help of an example. So just ask a question to yourself. Okay, if our body were meant for sense gratification only, then why can't we derive unlimited enjoyment from our body and our senses? Why there is a natural limit to the so-called enjoyment that uh, you know we we try to attain, we try to obtain. Okay, so for example, we are with our family and friends. Okay, and one of our favorite dishes are served in front of us. In the first serving, like, we will be very excited, so we take, say, 3 or 4 tablespoons of it and we enjoy it thoroughly the first time. Then someone comes and they request that, okay, this is your favorite dish, why don't you take a little more? The second helping, we take 2 or 3 tablespoons more, right? But after that, if someone comes and asks that, okay, please take more, this is your favorite dish, what happens? At least with me, like, I know, and most of the people, everyone, right, they will say that, okay, ab bas ho gaya, I'm full now. That same very dish which moments earlier we were relishing like anything, we were enjoying like anything, we say no to that particular dish. Why? Why is it so? That's the point. That's the question that we need to ask. Why can't we eat more? Why can't we enjoy or relish the dish in an unlimited way? Okay. Why is there a natural limit to all the enjoyment that we seek? And this is just one example which I have given. Okay, you expand this experiment to any form of enjoyment and you see it for yourself. There is always a natural limit to that. Okay, so the very fact that we cannot enjoy in an unlimited way is a proof that this body is not meant only for sense enjoyment. Okay, it has a bigger purpose. This body, the gross body which we have, the subtle body inside it, it has been given to us so that we can go back home, back to Krishna. It's like a machine which has been given to us. Okay, just to break this cycle of birth and death. This body is meant for self-realization only. Okay, this body is meant to endeavor on the path of self-realization and nothing else. Okay, and this is the reason, why Vedic scriptures tell us what is the limit. Okay, our body tells us what is the limit. The Vedic scriptures tells us. The scriptures tell us what is the limit. And one thing which we need to also understand, that even within that limit, okay, if we continue to have sense gratification continuously, if we are having sense gratification, if our focus is only on sense gratification, that's very, very dangerous. Okay, such person will not make any progress on the path of self-realization. Okay, so some control has to be exercised. And even see, this is not just about spirituality. Okay, even say a person who is fully materialistic, okay, and they are not following any rules and regulations when it comes to sense gratification or material enjoyment, okay, what will happen, that the value of that enjoyment will go down until and unless we have certain restrictions, created around us. But okay, from time to time I will say relish something or enjoy something, that will give you more pleasure actually. If we are continuously doing the same thing, same form of enjoyment over and over again, then that will, after some time, you will start feeling bored of it, and we will not value that actually, right? So that's the reason why that it's very important to understand that even within the limits of the rules and regulations, continuous sense gratification is very, very dangerous. Okay, and we'll read from the purport. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very long, long time, owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. Okay. So this is very important thing to understand, that this has been going on for many, many lifetimes. This tendency for sense gratification is not something which has just started, okay, in this lifetime. No, it has been there within us for many, many lifetimes. Just as we acquired the mode of material nature over many, many lifetimes, similarly, this tendency for sense gratification is also there for many, many lifetimes. So it's very difficult to ignore it. Okay, so rules and regulations which are there will actually help us to regulate this tendency which has been there within us for several lifetimes. Okay, and the spiritual master or the guru, okay, he ensures that those tendencies which are there are engaged in proper way in the service of Krishna. So in my earlier lectures also I have reiterated this on several occasions, that any desire that we have for sense gratification, we can always dovetail that in the service of Lord Sri Krishna, and such an action will not incur any karmic reactions. Okay, for example, if we are a very good cook, and we like, say we are a foodie basically, okay, we like to cook and eat. So similarly, simply just cook for Krishna, okay, uh, just cook for the pleasure of Krishna, keeping thoughts of Krishna in mind, okay, his names, forms, qualities, pastimes, while cooking. With that consciousness you cook, offer that food to Lord Sri Krishna as a bhoga, and then accept that food as prasadam, right? So this is one way in which a person who is uh, very interested in dancing, say, they can dance to the tunes of some beautiful bhajans of Lord Sri Krishna. In this way, that the tendency or that propensity, which is there to dance, will also be satisfied. And since they are working for Krishna, since they are doing it for Lord Krishna, they will not be incurring any sinful reactions whatsoever. So instead of dancing on those mundane tunes of horrible Bollywood songs these days, why not dance on the tunes of Lord Sri Krishna? Same goes for singing, same goes for painting. Okay, any activity which we are attached to can be dovetailed, in the service of Lord Sri Krishna. In this way, we will be gratifying the senses of Lord Sri Krishna, and in that way, we will be also gratifying our own senses. Yes. So isn't it beautiful, this path of Krishna consciousness? Don't have to give up anything. You just have to switch your consciousness, okay, in the right direction. So now the question is how to get rid of these tendencies completely. Okay, so as I said, that rules and regulations will be there to regulate our desires. Okay, but the question is how can we completely get rid of these tendencies? Do we need to force ourselves to give up these tendencies? Okay, or is there any better way around? As we have seen in the earlier verse, that even Krishna is saying that what will repression accomplish? Okay, we do not have to force anything on ourselves in any way. Okay, and we have to understand that. Okay, so it's easy, and the best solution is Krishna consciousness. Okay, as I've just told, given an example that whatever desires we have, whatever tendencies for sense gratification we have, we can simply dovetail it in the service of Krishna, and the spiritual master will help us to, do that, right? So we'll read the purport again. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kind of sensory activities. Automatically it will happen. Trust me, it's a tried and tested formula. Just stay on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Just follow the rules and regulations which are prescribed here, very nicely, and just to see the magic. Within few months, actually, within few months, you will be completely detached from any material attachment, okay, that you have. So this is the secret, basically. Just by dovetailing our tendencies in the service of Krishna, we will be automatically detached from sense gratification. Say if I say, for example, I love singing. Okay, so what happens if you um, just dovetail this tendency that, okay, instead of singing some mundane tune, okay, if you are just trying to sing some beautiful bhajans of Lord Sri Krishna, what will happen slowly? This tendency, your tendency to sing on the mundane tunes, okay, sing the mundane tunes, will automatically go away. You will be completely detached from that. You will not relish that anymore. Okay, so did I give up singing? No. What I did, I simply dovetailed that my what to say, the desire to sing in the service of Krishna. That's all we have to do. Okay, so similarly, like, same goes for any other activity. Okay, any other activity. Okay, so this is the secret, basically, right? Just dovetail the tendencies in the service of Krishna, and you will simply be detached from any material or sensory, what to say, enjoyment, right? And we will always be attached to Sri Krishna. That is a bigger gift that we will be getting. Okay, his always be attached to his names, his forms, his qualities, his pastimes, the leelas that he performed in Vrindavan, right? The Bhagavad Gita, which is spoke to Arjun on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's a magical book, right? Every one of you should read it, actually. Okay. Thus, we'll always be situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness, and will make this human life perfect. Yes. So now the question is, why should one get attached from these sense gratification tendencies? Only for one thing. Okay, so that we can come to the platform of Krishna consciousness and be situated there very nicely and perfect our human life. Break this cycle of birth and death, go back home, back to Krishna. See, it's very difficult to describe in words how much enjoyment is awaiting us in a Golok Vrindavan or any other Vaikuntha planet for that matter. Okay. The definition of enjoyment which we have here is nothing. You have never not seen the real enjoyment, you have not experienced the real beauty, you have not experienced the real knowledge, you have not experienced the real bliss, while staying in this material world. It's just a perverted reflection of what is there in the spiritual world. Okay, so please do not waste your life. Okay, just finish your business this very lifetime, wrap up, go back home, back to Krishna, and just enjoy in an unlimited way. Okay, and the best part is that the enjoyment which Krishna gives you in the spiritual world, you will never be bored of that. Even if you just perform the same activity over and over again, every day will be like, that enjoyment has increased fourfolds. It's just like that. Okay, that is the beauty of Sri Krishna. Okay, so yeah, please just try to follow the rules and regulations of the Vedic scriptures. Try to follow what our acharyas have to say, the principles of Krishna consciousness, and just be situated there very nicely. At the end of the life, just break this cycle of birth and death, go back home, back to Sri Krishna. Okay. So now, having spoken all this, Sri Krishna will now tell us that how are people interested in executing their prescribed duties, and why it is important to execute one's own prescribed duty rather than executing the prescribed duty of someone else. Okay, this we'll see in the next session. And before we conclude, I would like to say thanks, first of all, for being patient. We missed a few weeks because of some very hectic schedule that we had before Janmashtami, on the day of Janmashtami, and after Janmashtami. And by the way, we have had a wonderful celebration, Janmashtami celebration this time. More than around 9,000 people, uh, just came uh, where we were hosting this grand celebrations, and we had different stalls. All the short videos have been posted on YouTube, so you can have a look at that as well, even on the Instagram. Okay, so we have an Instagram handle named Abhinav Gauranga. You can see it right here on your screen at this point, so you can follow me there as well. Okay, it will give you some daily nice spiritual doses. Okay, just as we need to eat food regularly, maybe twice or thrice a day, we need to drink water several times a day, in order to remain fit and healthy, right? Similarly, to keep our spiritual life fit and healthy, we need regular doses of this spirituality. Just by maybe chanting in the morning or reading a Bhagavad Gita in the morning and I'm done for the day, it's not going to work that way. Okay, every now and then, at least small doses, 30 seconds, 1 minute, that should keep going in your head. Then and only then you will be always situated on this platform of Krishna consciousness, right? So please make full use of this. Uh, One good quality of this age of Kali Yuga is that we have been given some very nice technologies, right? So why not make use of these technologies to remain situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness? Yes. So this is all about my YouTube channel and Instagram handle. Any questions, if any one of you have, okay, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. Okay, I'll go through them. Uh, I'll try my best to answer them. And if you want to associate with me in a more personalized way, okay, then we have a WhatsApp group where you can join the group, and you can ask your questions there. Now, since I am a part of that group, and it's a more personalized interaction, then definitely, like, I'll be answering those questions and the follow-up questions also, right? And if I feel that your question is very generic and which can benefit more people, then definitely I'll try to create a video out of it. So the link to the WhatsApp group is given in the description section also. Okay, so please, if you are interested, just click on the link, join the group, and yeah, stay connected. So we'll meet again next week, hopefully this time without any disruptions, and uh, we'll continue with verse number 35. Okay, till then, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.